Well, hello everybody. Welcome back. Another time. Start the year off right. Guess we're just gonna continue where we left off. Pick up Genesis 27 through 30. Let's get right into this. All right. Well, this is Isaac blesses Jacob. Genesis 27. Now it came to pass when Isaac was old and his eyes were so dim that he could not see, that he called on Esau, his older son, and said to him, My son. And he answered him, Here I am. And then he said, Behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Therefore, please take your weapons, your quiver, your bow, and go out in the field and hunt game for me, and make me some savory food, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. Now, Rebekah was listening when Isaac spoke to Esau, his son, the great hunter, who was misled by Jacob to give him his birthright. And Esau went out to the field to hunt the game and to bring it to him. So Rebekah spoke to her son Jacob, saying, Son, indeed I heard your father speaking to Esau, your brother, saying, Bring me game and make savory food for me, that I may eat it and bless you in the presence of the Lord before my death. Now, therefore, my son, obey my voice according to what I command you. Go now to the flock and bring me from their 2 choice kids, which are goats, and I will make a savory food from them for your father, such he loves. Then you shall take it to your father, that he may eat it, and that he may bless you before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah, Look, Esau's my brother, is a hairy man, and I am smooth-skinned. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to be a deceiver to him, and I shall bring a curse on myself and not a blessing. But his mother said to him, Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice, and go get them for me. And so he went and got them, and brought them to his mother, and she made some savory food, such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the choice clothes of her elder son Esau, which were in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son, which she was more kin to. She favored him. And she put the skins of the goats on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck, and then she gave the savory food and the bread which she had prepared in the hands of her son Jacob. So he went to his father and said, My father, here I am. And he said, Who are you, my son? And Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn, and I have done just as you told. Please arise, sit, and eat my game, and that your soul may bless me. But Isaac said to his son, Well, how is it that you have found it so quickly? And because the Lord God brought it to me, is what Jacob said in his life. And Isaac said to Jacob, Well, please come near that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esau or not. So Jacob went near Isaac, his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau, the hairy guy. And he did not recognize him, because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him, and then said, Are you really my son Esau? And Jacob replied, I am. He said, Bring it near me, and I will eat of my son's game, so that my soul may bless you. And he brought it near to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, Come now and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his clothing and blessed him, and saying, Surely the smell of my son is the smell of a field, which the Lord had blessed. Therefore may God give you of the dew of heaven, of the fatness of the earth, and of plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be a master over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be those who bless you. Man, and I guess there you have it. He's getting this blessing. He's the youngest born and the weaker one, but yet he's going to rule over the older and the stronger. So now we're on to Esau's lost hope, still in Genesis 27. So now it happened, as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac, his father, Esau, his brother, came back from the hunt. And he said, he made the savory food, brought it to his father, and said, "Let my father arise and eat his son's game, that you may bless me." And his father said, "Well, who are you?" "I am your son, your firstborn Esau." Then Isaac trembled exceedingly and said, "Who? Where is the one who hunted the game and brought it to me? I ate all of it before you came, and I have blessed him, and indeed he shall be blessed." So you can't undo blessings. When Esau, let me see, I got distracted. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with exceedingly great and bitter cry and said, bless me, O father." But he said, "Your brother came with deceit and has taken away your blessing." And Esau had said, "It is not right. Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me from these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my blessing. Have you not reserved a blessing for me?" Then Isaac replied and said to Esau, "Indeed, I have made him your master, and all his brethren I have given to him as servants. With grain and wine I have sustained him. What shall I do for you now, my son?" He's asking to Esau. Sorry, can't grab these pages. And Esau said to his father, "Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me also, O father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And then Isaac his father answered him and said, "Behold, your dwelling shall be of the fatness of the earth and the dew of the heaven from above. And by your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass when you become restless that you shall break his yoke from your neck." I don't know if that means like Jacob will kill Esau. That you shall break his yoke from your neck. I don't know. I need to look into that. Maybe y'all can let me know. So on to Jacob escapes from Esau. So Esau hated Jacob because the stealing of the blessing which his father had given him. And Esau said in his heart, "The days of mourning for my father are at hand, and then I will kill my brother Jacob." Oh, okay. So he's got a vendetta. And then the words of Esau, her older son, to Rebekah, sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said to him, "Surely your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you by intending to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice. Arise, flee to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay with him a few days until your brother's fury turns away, until your brother's anger subsides, and he forgets what you have done to him." How could you forget that? "Then I will send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved also of both of you in one day?" And Rebekah said to Isaac, "I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife of the daughters of Heth, like those who were the daughters of the land, what good will my life be to me?" Then Isaac, so now we're on to Genesis 28. Then Isaac called Jacob and blessed him, and charged him and said, "You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take a wife from there of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother." And goes to say, "May God Almighty bless you. May you make fruitful and multiply you, that you may be an assembly of peoples, and give you the blessing of Abraham to you and your descendants with you, that you may inherit the land in which you are a stranger, which God gave to Abraham." So Isaac sent Jacob away and to the land of Padan Aram, to Laban the son of Bethuel the Syrian, and the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. Unto Esau marries Mahalath. Yep, that's it. Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Aram to take a wife for himself from there, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge saying, "You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan," and that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother and had gone to Padan Aram. And Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan did not please his father Isaac. So Esau went to Ishmael and took Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife in addition to the wives he had. So maybe she's a Canaanite, I think. On to Jacob's vow at Bethel. Now Jacob went out from the Beersheba and went towards Haran. So he came to a certain place and stayed there all the night, because the sun had set. He took one of the stones that of the place and put it on his head, and he lay down to sleep. I'll put it at his head, so a rock as a pillow. Then he dreamed, and behold, a ladder was set up on the earth, and its top reached into heaven, and there the angels of God were ascending and descending on it in his dream. And behold, in the dream, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give it to you and your descendants. And that's to Jacob. Also, your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. And in you, in your seed, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Wow. Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have spoken to you. In the dream, it's a whole lot coming from the Lord. And then Jacob awoke from it and said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And then he was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Then Jacob rose early in the morning, took some stone he had put at his head, set it up as a pillar, and poured oil on top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel. But the name of the city had been Luz previously. I've got those dang hiccups again. So then Jacob made a vow, saying, if God will be with me and keep me in this way that I am going, and give me bread to eat and clothing to put on, so I shall come back to my father's house in peace, and then the Lord shall be my God. And this is the stone which I have set a pillar, shall be God's house, and all of it you give me, I will surely give a tenth to you. So he's tithing. So on to Genesis 29. Jacob meets Rachel. So Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east. And he looked and he saw a well in the field, and behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks. A large stone was on the well's mouth. Now all the flocks would be gathered there, and they would roll on the stone from the well's mouth, water the sheep, and put the stone back in its place on the well's mouth. Then Jacob said to them, my brethren, where are you from? And they said, we are from Haran. And then he said to them, do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, we know him. So he said to them, is he well? And they said, he is well. And look, his daughter Rachel is coming with the sheep. And he said, look, it is still high in day. It is not time for the cattle to be gathered together. Water the sheep and go and feed them. But he said, we cannot until the flocks are gathered together, and they have rolled the stone from where the well's mouth is, and then we water the sheep. Now, while he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, and she was a shepherdess. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. And then Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebekah's son. So she ran and told her father. Then it came to pass, when Laban heard the report about Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. He told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, surely you are my bone and flesh. And he stayed with him for a month. So Jacob marries Leah and Rachel. So then Laban said to Jacob, because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be? Now Laban had 2 daughters, and the name of one was Leah and the other was Rachel. And Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form and appearance. Now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to you than another man, so stay with me. So Jacob served for 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days before. They only seemed like a few days to him because of the love he had for her. So Jacob said to Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go into her. And then Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and they made a feast. And now it came to pass in the evening that Leah, his daughter, brought her to Jacob, and he went to her. And Laban gave his maid Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came to pass in the morning that, behold, it was Leah, and he said to Laban, What is this you have done to me? Was it not Rachel, for Rachel that I served you? Why have you deceived me? And then Laban said, It must not be done so in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will still give you this one for the service. And will you serve with me another 7 years? And then Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him his daughter Rachel as a wife also. So 14 years for one girl. That's dedication. And Laban gave him his maid Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as a maid. Then Jacob also went into Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he served with Laban another 7 years. The children of Jacob. So when the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. So Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called him Reuben maybe. For she said, The Lord has surely looked on my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. Then she conceived again and bore a son. And because the Lord had heard that I am unloved, he has therefore given me a son also. And she called him Simeon. And conceived again and bore a son, and said, Now this time my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name was called Levi. And she conceived again, bore a son, and she said, Now I will praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, then stopped bearing. So she had 4 sons. And Rachel saw that she bore no children to Jacob. Rachel envied her sister and said to Jacob, Give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was aroused. Oh, now we're in Genesis 30, by the way. We're wrapping up on the last section here today. But it's kind of a hefty one, so we still got a few minutes. So she said, Give me children, or I die. And Jacob, his anger was aroused against Rachel, and he said, I am in the place of God, who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb. So she said, Here is my maid Bilhah. Go unto her, and she will bear a child on my knees, that I may also have children by her. And then she gave him to Bilhah to him as a maid wife, I guess, her wife as a maid. Then she gave him Bilhah, her maid, as wife, and Jacob went into her. Okay. Sorry for the confusion. And Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son, and then Rachel said, God has judged my case, and he has also heard my voice and given me a son. Therefore she called his name Dan. And Rachel's maid Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. And then Rachel said, With great wrestling I have wrestled with my sister, and indeed I have prevailed. So she called his name Naphtali. And when Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob as well as a wife. And Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, A troop comes. And so she called his name God. And then Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a second son, and Leah said, I am happy, for the daughters will call me blessed. So she called his name Asher. So now Reuben went in the days of the wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them to his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Please give me some of your son's mandrakes. And I really don't know what mandrakes are, so we're going to have to look that up and go from there. I think it might be like some fruit or something, I don't know. But she said to her, It is a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, Therefore he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrakes. So Rachel, the favored one, is going to get her husband, everyone's husband, it seems like at this point, to just like stay with Leah to get some mandrakes. When Jacob came out of the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, You must come in for me, for I surely hired you with my son for mandrakes, and then lay with her that night. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son by her. And Leah said, God has given me my wages, because I have given my maid to my husband. So she called his name Issachar. Issachar. I'm just going to say Issachar. Then Leah conceived again and born a sixth son. Wow. And Leah said, God has endowed me with good endowment, and now my husband will dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. So she called his name Zebulun. Zebulun. Yeah, looks good. After she bore a daughter and called her name Dinah, then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her and opened up her womb. And she conceived and bore a son, and said, God has taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, The Lord shall add to me another son. So maybe she's wanting another. But Jacob's agreement with Laban. As it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, then Jacob said to Laban, Send me away, that I may go to my own place and to my own country. Give to me my wives and my children, for whom I have served with you, and let me go, for you know my service which I have done for you. And Laban said to him, Please stay, if I have found favor in your eyes, for I have learned and experienced that the Lord had blessed me for your sake. And then he said, Name me wages, and I will give it. And Jacob said to him, You know I have served you and your livestock, and has been with me. For what you had before I came, was little, and I increased it to a great amount. And the Lord has blessed you since my coming. And now, when I shall also provide for my own house, when shall I provide for my own house? And so he said, What shall I give you? And Jacob said, You shall not give me anything. I will, if you will do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flocks. Let me pass through all the flocks today, removing them from there, all the speckled and spotted sheep, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and the speckled and spotted goats, and these shall be my wages. So righteousness will be answered for me in the time to come, when the subject of my wages comes before you. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and the brown among the lambs, will be considered stolen, if it is with me. And Laban said, Oh, that it were according to your word. So he removed that day the male goats that were speckled and spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one had some white in it, and all the ones with the brown among the lambs, they had given them to the hands of his sons. So then he put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of the Laban's flocks. Now Jacob took for himself rods of green poplar, and of the almond and chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white in which was in the rods. And the rods which he had peeled, he set before the flocks in the gutters and in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, so that they should conceive when they come to drink. And so the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted, offspring. Then Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face toward the streaks, and the brown in the flocks of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they may conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler ones were Laban's, and the stronger ones were Jacob's. Pretty smart. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous, and had large flocks, female and male servants, camels and donkeys. So yeah, I guess he got to keep the speckled and spotted ones. Somehow, made that, and those are the ones he kept, and so he made Laban's flock smaller and his bigger and stronger. And I guess we're gonna see if he winds up starving them out or something. But that's gonna do it for us today. That was Genesis 27 through 30, and we'll just pick up back with it tomorrow. Thank y'all for the time. Like, comment, subscribe, share it to your friends and family, and we'll help get the word out. Thank you. Bye.